I deleted his number the night he died. Not because I wanted to forget him, but because I couldn't handle seeing his name on my screen. At 2:17 a.m., my phone lit up. His name was calling. Not unknown. Not no caller ID. Not a glitch. It was his full contact photo. The one I took the day he told me goodbye. Standing outside the bus terminal, sunlight in his eyes, like he already knew he wouldn't be coming back. For 3 full seconds, I didn't breathe. The house was silent. Too silent. The kind of silence that follows a funeral. Heavy, thick, unnatural. Earlier that day, I had stood beside his coffin and watched them lower him into the ground. I had heard the dirt hit the wood. I had watched our mother collapse into tears she'd been holding in for years. I had seen him dead. My phone kept vibrating. Against my better judgment, I answered. Hello. Static. Then breathing. Not distorted. Not mechanical. Human. Controlled. And then his voice. You picked up. Every muscle in my body locked. The voice wasn't similar. It wasn't close. It was him. The same quiet rasp. The same measured tone. The same way he let silence hang between sentences like it meant something. This isn't funny, I said, though I wasn't sure who I was accusing. I know, he replied. That's why you need to listen. My mouth went dry. You're dead. A pause. No, he said calmly. I'm not. The words didn't hit all at once. They unraveled slowly, like a thread being pulled through fabric. That's impossible, I whispered. I don't have time to convince you, he said. You were followed home tonight. My stomach dropped. That's not possible. You stopped at a gas station 2 miles from the cemetery. You bought a bottle of water. You dropped the change. My heart slammed against my ribs. No one knew that. I hadn't told anyone. I hadn't even mentioned stopping. There's a gray sedan parked half a block from your house, he continued. Engine off. Lights off. It's been there since 1:58 a.m. I turned slowly toward the window beside the couch. Don't, he said sharply. They're watching for movement. They. The word echoed. Who is this? I demanded, but the anger in my voice sounded thin. You don't have much time, he said. I need you to trust me for the next 3 minutes. I buried you today. No, he corrected softly. You buried someone. The air left my lungs. What does that mean? It means, he said, that what you saw wasn't what you think it was. A car door slammed somewhere outside. I flinched. Stay calm, he instructed. Act normal. I am not acting normal, I snapped under my breath. Listen to me. They think you don't know anything. That's your advantage. I don't know anything. You know enough. The hallway light flickered. I stared at it. This isn't real, I muttered. You always did that, he said. When you're overwhelmed, you say it isn't real. The memory hit hard. Us as kids, hiding in our bedroom while our parents argued downstairs. He'd whisper, it's not real, like that made it safer. My chest tightened. If this is some kind of sick joke. It's not, he interrupted. And I need you to decide right now whether you're going to hang up or whether you're going to find out why I had to say goodbye. The words landed heavier than anything else he'd said. Why I had to say goodbye. That last conversation replayed instantly. He'd shown up at my apartment 3 weeks ago, unannounced. He'd looked tired, thinner, nervous in a way I'd never seen before. I might be gone for a while, he had said. Gone where? He didn't answer. He just hugged me longer than usual. At the time, I thought it was dramatic, emotional. I didn't think it was a warning. Why did you say goodbye? I asked now. Another pause. Because I knew what was coming. A knock hit the front door. 3 slow, deliberate taps. Every nerve in my body lit up. They're early, he said quietly. Who is that? I whispered. Don't answer. The knock came again. Louder. Police, a voice called from outside. We need to ask you a few questions. My pulse spiked. They're not police, he said instantly. How would you know? Because I already talked to the real police. Cold spread through my arms. What did you do? I asked. Silence. Another knock. Harder this time. Open the door, the voice demanded. My mind fractured in two directions. One part said, "This is insane. He's dead. This is grief-twisting reality." The other part said, "He knew about the gas station. He knew about the sedan. He knew how I react when I'm scared. They'll say they need closure," he continued. "They'll say they need a statement. Don't open the door." The door handle rattled. "They have a key," I hissed. "No. They're testing you. How do you know all this?" "Because I was supposed to be dead tonight." The words chilled everything inside me. What does that mean? It means the body you buried wasn't supposed to be identified. A heavy silence followed. My mind tried to reject it, but something surfaced, something I had ignored earlier. At the funeral, the coffin had been closed. They said the accident made it necessary. I hadn't questioned it. They needed someone who matched enough, he continued. Someone with similar build, similar dental records. "You're saying?" "Yes." The front porch creaked. Footsteps. "They're coming around back," he said calmly. "How can you possibly know that?" "I can see them." Every rational thought collapsed. "Where are you?" A beat. "Close enough." The back gate clicked open. My breathing became shallow. "Go to your kitchen," he instructed. "Why?" "Because you installed that security camera after the break-in last year." I hadn't told him about that. Slowly, I moved toward the kitchen. My hands were shaking so badly, I almost dropped the phone. The back door window cast a faint reflection of the yard beyond. Two silhouettes. Moving. My blood ran cold. "They don't want you," he said. "They want what you have." "I don't have anything." "You have what I left." Everything inside me froze. "What did you leave?" Another pause. "In the storage unit." The storage unit. I hadn't thought about it in months. We had rented it together after cleaning out Dad's old workshop. "I don't have a key anymore," I whispered. "Yes, you do." My mind raced. "No." "Yes." And then it hit me. The old toolbox in my closet. The one he insisted I keep. "I need you to leave the house," he said. "There are people outside." Not through the door. My heart pounded so loudly I could barely hear him. "Where?" "The basement window." I stared toward the hallway leading down. "You expect me to climb out of a basement window at 2 in the morning?" "I expect you to decide whether you want answers," he said, his voice suddenly harder. "Because once they come inside, you won't get another chance." The back door handle turned. Once. Twice. Slowly. "Time's up," he said. The basement stairs creaked under my feet as I moved. The phone pressed against my ear felt like the only thing anchoring me to reality. Behind me, I heard glass shatter. They were inside. "Go," he whispered. I reached the basement window and shoved it open. Cold air hit my face. "You'll see the gray sedan," he continued. "Don't run from it." "What?" "Run toward it." My breath caught. "What are you talking about?" "It's mine." The world tilted. "You said they were in it." "They were." The sound of footsteps above me echoed through the house. "They're not anymore." My pulse roared in my ears. "You're asking me to trust a dead man." "No," he said softly. "I'm asking you to trust your brother." Upstairs, something crashed. A voice shouted, "Check downstairs." I swung one leg through the window. "If you're lying." I wouldn't have called. The basement door handle rattled violently. I dropped to the grass outside. Cold. Wet. Real. The gray sedan sat half a block away. Dark. Silent. Waiting. My phone pressed to my ear. "Walk," he instructed. I started moving. Behind me, the basement window banged open. "They're out back," someone shouted. "Faster," he said calmly. My heart felt like it would explode. "Get in the driver's seat," he continued. "You expect me to just trust me." I reached the car. The door unlocked with a quiet click. I froze. "I'm not dead," he said. The men were running toward me now. I yanked the door open and slid inside. Keys were already in the ignition. "Start it," he said. The engine roared to life. As I slammed my foot on the gas, the phone went silent. The call ended. In the rearview mirror, I saw two men standing in the street, watching the car disappear into the night. My brother's name still glowed on the screen. Call duration, 7 minutes, 42 seconds. And for the first time since the coffin closed, I wasn't thinking about grief. I was thinking about the one question that now mattered more than anything else. If he wasn't dead, then who did we bury? The tires screamed as I took the corner too fast. My hands were locked on the steering wheel, knuckles white, pulse hammering in my ears. I didn't know where I was going. I didn't know what the plan was. All I knew was that 2 men had broken into my house less than 10 minutes after a dead man called me. And the car I was driving belonged to him. The phone lay in the passenger seat. The call had ended, but his name was still burned into the screen like it meant something permanent. 7 minutes and 42 seconds. That was all it took to turn reality inside out. A pair of headlights appeared in my rearview mirror. My stomach tightened. They're following you. His voice. Not through the phone. Through the car speakers. I nearly swerved off the road. What? The car's system is connected to my device, he said calmly. Keep driving. I stared at the dashboard screen. His name glowed there too. You hacked my car. I demanded. It's my car, he replied. The headlights behind me grew closer. Take the next right, he instructed. I hesitated. Now. I turned sharply into a narrow side street lined with closed storefronts and flickering streetlights. The car behind me followed. They're not going to stop, I said. No, he agreed. They won't. Who are they? A brief silence. People I trusted. The words landed heavier than anything else so far. You staged your death, I said slowly. From who? Criminals? Police? Who? Take the next left. That's not an answer. You don't have time for the full version. Then give me the short one. He exhaled. Not annoyed. Calculating. I found something I wasn't supposed to. What? In Dad's storage unit. The world narrowed. That unit is full of old tools and scrap metal. No, he said quietly. It isn't. The headlights behind me accelerated. They're closing in, I warned. I know. How do you know everything? Because this was always going to happen. The sentence hung there like a confession. You knew they'd come after me? I hoped they wouldn't. That's not good enough. A sudden screech of tires behind me. The pursuing car tried to overtake on the left. Brake, he said. What? Hard. I slammed the brakes. The car behind swerved violently, barely missing my front bumper, then overcorrected and smashed into a parked truck. Metal exploded against metal. Airbags deployed. Silence. I stared at the wreck in the rearview mirror, heart racing. Keep moving, he said. They could be dead. They're not. You sound very sure. I am. I swallowed. You've done this before. Another silence. Drive, he repeated. 10 minutes later, we were on the highway. The city lights faded behind us. My breathing finally slowed enough to think. You said you found something in the storage unit. I began carefully. What was it? Documents. About what? A company. That's vague. It's supposed to be. I gripped the wheel tighter. You faked your death over paperwork. I didn't fake it for paperwork, he said. I faked it because of what the paperwork proved. The tension in his voice shifted. Not fear. Anger. Dad wasn't who we thought he was. My stomach twisted. Don't do that, I warned. Don't rewrite him just because you're running from something. I'm not rewriting him, he said. I'm finishing the story. The highway sign ahead read, Exit 14, Industrial District. Take it, he said. I obeyed. The road grew darker, emptier. You're going to tell me exactly what's happening, I said. Or I'm pulling over. If you pull over, you die. The certainty in his voice stopped me cold. Start with this, I said. Who did we bury? He didn't answer immediately. When he finally spoke, his voice was lower. A man named Victor Hale. The name meant nothing. Who is that? Someone they needed gone. And they used you? No, he said. They used the accident. I frowned. What accident? The one they told you about. My heart skipped. They said you died in a car crash. I was supposed to. The car rolled slowly into an abandoned lot behind a row of warehouses. Stop here, he instructed. I turned off the engine. The silence that followed felt heavier than any noise. "You're telling me the crash was planned," I said. "Yes. And you just stepped out of it." "I never got in." The world tilted again. "You weren't in the car." "No." "Then whose body was it?" "Victor's." I felt sick. "You're saying someone else died so you could disappear." "I didn't kill him. But you let it happen." His silence confirmed more than words. Footsteps echoed outside the car. I tensed. "Relax," he said. "It's me." The passenger door opened. I turned slowly. And there he was, alive, standing under the faint yellow glow of a warehouse light. Same face. Same eyes. Only sharper now. Harder. He slid into the passenger seat and closed the door. For a moment, neither of us spoke. I studied him like he might dissolve. "You're real," I said quietly. "Yes." I reached out, almost without thinking, and grabbed his wrist. Warm. Solid. Alive. Rage surged through me. "You let us bury someone else." I didn't have a choice. There's always a choice. He turned toward me, eyes intense. "No. Not when the people you're dealing with control the police report. Not when they own the medical examiner. Not when they decide what story gets told." A chill crept up my spine. "Who are they?" He held my gaze. Crestfall Industries. The name hit something faint in my memory. "That's Dad's old employer." "Yes. They manufacture construction equipment." "That's what they say." The pieces started shifting in my mind. "You found something in the storage unit linking Dad to them." "I found proof that Dad was about to expose them." "For what?" He leaned back in the seat, jaw tight. "For funding human trials under the guise of safety testing." My stomach dropped. "What kind of trials?" "Unregulated ones." The air felt thin. "That's insane." "It's profitable." "And Dad knew." "Yes." "And he was going to expose them?" "Yes." "And then he died." "Yes." The word echoed. "You think they killed him?" "I know they did." Silence pressed in on both sides. "You can't prove that," I said weakly. He met my eyes. "I can." My heart pounded. "That's what's in the storage unit." He nodded. "Encrypted drives. Signed statements. Internal memos. Why didn't you go to the authorities?" He gave me a look that answered everything. "They are the authorities." The scale of it made my head spin. "So you staged your death to finish what Dad started?" "Yes." "And dragged me into it." "I tried not to." "They broke into my house." "Because they think you have the evidence." "Do I?" He hesitated. "Yes." The word detonated. "What?" "I moved it." "Moved it where?" He looked straight at me. "To you." The betrayal hit harder than the fear. "You used me as storage?" "I used the only place they wouldn't search immediately." "My house." "Yes." "They were just in my house. They were testing you. If they had found it, you wouldn't be here." The magnitude of the situation settled like concrete. "This isn't just about you being alive," I said slowly. "No. This is war." He didn't argue. Headlights swept across the lot. Both of us froze. "That was fast," he murmured. A black SUV rolled into the entrance. Two more behind it. "They tracked the car," I whispered. "Yes." "Now what?" He looked at me, not like a brother, like a man about to make a decision. "There's one way this ends." "What does that mean?" "It means," he said calmly, "we stop running." The SUV doors opened. Men stepped out, armed. My heart pounded against my ribs. "You said this was about evidence," I said. "It is." "Then why do they have guns?" "Because they're done pretending." The men began walking toward us. Slowly, confidently. My hands trembled. "You said we had leverage." "We do." "Then use it." He reached into his jacket and pulled out a small flash drive. "If I give this to them, they walk away. And everything Dad died for disappears." The men were halfway across the lot now. "And if you don't?" I asked. He looked at me. "Then tonight becomes irreversible." One of the men raised his voice. "Step out of the vehicle." My pulse thundered. "Choose," my brother said quietly. Outside, safeties clicked off. Inside, the weight of the past 15 years pressed down on us both. Last chance, the man shouted. I looked at my brother, at the flash drive, at the headlights flooding the windshield, and I realized something terrifying. This was never about a call after goodbye. It was about whether we were willing to finish what our father started. The SUV doors slammed shut behind the men, weapons raised, and my brother opened his door. The warehouse lot went silent when my brother stepped out of the car. Not quiet, silent. The kind of silence that happens just before something irreversible. The men were spread in a loose semicircle around us. 3 from the SUVs. One leaning against the hood of the first vehicle like he had all the time in the world. Weapons raised. Controlled. Professional. Put it on the hood, the man in front called out. Calm voice. Expensive coat. No rush in his posture. My brother held the flash drive between 2 fingers. Call them off, he said. A faint smile touched the man's face. You're not in a position to negotiate. You'd be surprised. The man's gaze flicked toward me in the driver's seat. Is that the brother? Yes, mine replied evenly. So you finally ran out of hiding places. My heart pounded, but I forced myself to open the door and step out. If this ended tonight, I wasn't watching it from behind glass. The cold air hit hard. My legs felt unstable, but I stood beside my brother. The man in the coat studied us both. You could have disappeared cleanly, he said to my brother. You were given that option. I wasn't given anything, my brother replied. You tried to bury me. We corrected a liability. You killed our father. The words cracked through the night. The men didn't react. That told me everything. The man in the coat tilted his head slightly. Not denial. Not outrage. Assessment. Your father misunderstood what we were building. You were testing unapproved compounds on people. We were accelerating innovation. You were hiding deaths. The man's smile faded. Give me the drive. My brother didn't move. You know what's on this, he said. Internal memos. Payment records. Trial logs. Names. The man's eyes hardened at the last word. Yes, he said quietly. Names. And suddenly I understood. This wasn't about a company. It was about the people inside it. If this leaks, my brother continued, board members fall. Investors fall. Politicians fall. A flicker of tension crossed the man's face for the first time. You won't leak it, he said calmly. Why not? Because you don't have the master file. The ground seemed to tilt. My brother didn't blink. Try me. The man gestured slightly. One of the armed men stepped closer. You found fragments, the man in the coat continued. Not the archive. Not the signatures that matter. Your father never finished compiling it. My pulse surged. He was bluffing. He had to be. But I saw something shift in my brother's expression. A microsecond. Doubt. You were close, the man continued. Close enough to be inconvenient, but not dangerous. My brother's jaw tightened. You're wrong. Am I? The air thickened. I stepped forward before I could second-guess it. He's not bluffing, I said. Both men turned toward me. The flash drive felt heavier now. You searched my house, I continued. You searched it because you weren't sure. The man in the coat studied me carefully. You think you have something we don't. I know we do. That wasn't entirely true. But I needed them unsure. My brother glanced at me briefly. Trust. Just like earlier. Where is it? The man asked calmly. I looked him in the eye. In a place you can't reach. A lie. But it landed. His expression shifted, not fear. Calculation. You have 30 seconds, he said. For what? To decide whether you want to walk away alive. One of the men adjusted his grip on his weapon. The message was clear. My brother leaned closer to me without breaking eye contact with them. There's a dead drop, he murmured under his breath. What? In Dad's old workshop. Floor safe. Under the third bench. My mind raced. You said everything was in the storage unit. Most of it. Most. Why didn't you tell me? Because if they grabbed you, you wouldn't know. That stung. But it also made sense. The man in the coat glanced at his watch. 10 seconds. My heart hammered. We didn't have proof in our hands. Not here. Not now. But we had something they weren't sure about, and uncertainty was power. "You want the drive?" my brother called out. "Yes." "Then lower the guns." The men didn't move. The man in the coat sighed. "You misunderstand leverage." He lifted a hand slightly. One of the armed men shifted position, not toward us, toward the car. And that's when I realized something I had missed. The trunk. My pulse spiked. "Open it," the man ordered. "No," my brother said sharply. The armed man reached for the trunk release on the key fob clipped to the dashboard. Click. The trunk popped open. Time slowed. The man walked to the back of the car, lifted the lid, looked inside. Then he froze. Even from where I stood, I could see confusion ripple across his face. He turned slowly. "It's empty." The lot went silent again. The man in the coat's eyes narrowed. "That's not possible." My brother didn't smile. He didn't react. He just held up the flash drive again. "You assumed I'd keep everything together," he said. "That was your mistake." The man in the coat took a step forward. "Where is it?" My brother's voice was steady. "Safe." Another lie, but a convincing one. "You don't win here," the man said quietly. "No," my brother replied. "You don't." And then headlights exploded across the lot from the opposite entrance. Red and blue lights. Flashing. Multiple vehicles. The armed men turned sharply. Police cruisers flooded into the warehouse lot from both sides. Doors burst open. "Drop your weapons." Real police this time. Not imposters. The men around us hesitated. The man in the coat looked at my brother, not angry. Impressed. "You didn't have the archive," he said quietly. "No," my brother agreed. "But you had enough." Sirens screamed. Officers swarmed. Weapons clattered to the pavement. The man in the coat raised his hands slowly. As they cuffed him, he leaned slightly toward my brother. "This won't hold." "It doesn't have to," my brother said. "It just has to start." The officers separated us quickly. Questions. Hands on shoulders. Names demanded. But in the chaos, one thing became clear. My brother hadn't just staged his death to run. He staged it to bait them. The flash drive wasn't the archive. It was a trigger. Partial files. Enough to justify a warrant. Enough to open investigations. Enough to pull threads. And the moment they moved on us tonight, armed, aggressive, coordinated, they proved everything else. Hours later, just before dawn, we stood outside the station. Exhausted. Alive. "You never planned to give them the drive," I said quietly. "No. You planned for them to escalate." "Yes. You used me." He met my eyes. "I needed them to think I'd trust you." I looked away. The anger was still there. But beneath it was something else. Understanding. "And the body?" I asked. "Victor Hale," he said softly. "They were going to disappear him. I rerouted the plan. You still let us bury someone else." "I know. The weight of that would never disappear." "You could have told me," I said. "If I told you," he replied, "you wouldn't have been believable." That hurt, because it was true. We stood there in silence as the sky shifted from black to gray. "So what happens now?" I asked. "Investigations. Arrests. Lawyers. Threats. And us." He looked at me. No more goodbyes. For the first time since the funeral, the word didn't feel final. My phone buzzed in my hand. Unknown number. I froze. He saw it. "Answer," he said. I did. Static. Then a calm voice. "You should have stayed out of it." The line went dead. I stared at the screen. My brother exhaled slowly. "This isn't over," I said. "No," he agreed. Police lights still flickered in the distance. But the sun was rising. And for the first time since the coffin lowered into the ground, I understood something clearly. The call that came after goodbye wasn't a haunting. It wasn't a miracle. It was a choice. A choice to uncover what was buried. A choice to risk everything. A choice to finish a story that someone powerful tried to end. I looked at my brother. Alive. Bruised. Unfinished. "Next time," I said quietly, "just knock on the door." He almost smiled. No more funerals. And this time I believed him.